When the project's first started, when they first get their credits, they may not even have their investor yet. They might not even have one lined up. So the first stage of the project is, dealing with the state agency and applying and receiving their credits. So once the credits are received, then they might need our help with identifying an investor who they may seem as friendly to help them through this project, this process, this 15, 20-year process. Because remember, once you have an investor, that investor is there now for 15 to 20 years. So it's a relationship. So finding that right relationship, we can help with that. Finding them a good investor will help them throughout the 15 to 20-year process. So we act as a liaison between the client and the investor to help them. Sometimes the investor gets a little technical in their questions. The client may or may not know the answer, but that's where we kind of come in and help decipher what the investors are looking for and help them answer their questions. So, it's the best, the client gets the best benefit. So you're dealing with the clients and you're dealing with the investors. And then on top of that, and at least in the early phases, you're also dealing a lot with the state agency. When you're submitting these to cost certification, the 10% test, the state agencies generally have a lot of questions to ask. They're asking technical questions, and that's where we also provide guidance for the client to help them get those questions answered satisfactorily, to help everyone make sure they maintain their credits and they maximize those credits so they don't lose them. Then, I think if you're dealing with an affordable housing project or you're dealing with a HUD project, it is important to hire a CPA with that experience. The government requires the cost certification audit. They also require the 10% test. Those are usually administered through a state agency in Pennsylvania. That's the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency. So those audits, the cost certification and the 10% test have to get submitted to Pennsylvania. Or if you were in New Jersey, they would have to get submitted to New Jersey. If you're doing a HUD project, those audits would have to be submitted to HUD as their requirements. Now, HUD audits are a little different. So depending on the project and the funds you receive, you'd have to do an audit and make sure that the funds are being spent in compliance with those requirements for HUD. So we do those audits as well. And then going back to the low-income housing space, not only do you do the 10% test and the cost certification audit, but more likely than not, your investor is going to require an audit as long as they're in the deal, which is over usually 15 years, which is the compliance period. So over the 15 years, the investor is going to require an audit. So that's where we get involved and we provide those audits as well.